Lisa. Our next poet is the founder of Whirlwind Press. He's a Vietnam War veteran, a close friend of mine. Lamont Steptoe is a poet and publisher, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He has published 12 books of poetry and edited 2 poetry collections by the late South African activist Dennis Brutus. In 2006, he won a Pew Fellowship, and his latest book is Meditations in Congo Square. Steptoe is currently working on several books. Please welcome Lamont Steptoe. Thank you so much.
I just want to say that I was profoundly moved by the last reader. Before I read a few of the poems of mine published in the latest Whirlwind, I want to thank Sean Lynch for all the work and all the supportive staff, all the artistic folks who put this together and continue to turn out such a superlative issue, both in production value and content. So thank you. I would like to begin by reading something I wrote in Cu Chi, Vietnam, 1969. They want to take my life. They want to take my life, my little life, that I have not as yet done anything with. That entity that was created 10,000 miles away from this country of Vietnam. In this tropic place, they wish me to die. How does one die when as yet one has not even begun to live? Created 10,000 miles away in a surge of lust, they wish to take that bastard life away from me. A victim of racism, I now fight a racist war. I, a black man, am told to kill a yellow man, a symbol of imperialism. I march about with my fire stick in my hand, waging death in a land that has been tempered by death, fighting a people who are as cunning as the ants that proliferate their countryside. They want to take my life. These people who have never walked the valleys of New York, these people who never lost their historic manhood, who always knew they were men, they, the gooks, so named by the white man, want to kill me, a nigger, so named by the white man. They want to take my life in the jungle, while I'm sleeping, while I'm eating, while I'm screwing, while I'm thinking of mama and others, but I want to live. I don't want to release my soul under a Vietnamese sun. I want to bullshit on the block with the boys again. I want to talk trash to the women and try to get over. I want to rap intellectual shit and read as many more books as my eyes will permit. I want to take long, slow shits when my belly is full. I want to feel many more times the complete freedom felt at orgasm. I want to run many more times full tilt into the wind and rain. I want to feel once again the shyness a guy feels around a girl he really cares for. I want once again to be held in awe by the poetry that wells up inside me, brings tears to my eyes, chokes my throat, gives me a hard-on. I want to live, but they want to take my life. The Viet Cong, the NVA, malaria, the heat, venereal disease. They want to take my life. Those white GIs who feel that I'm not a necessary implement of their security, and they can quelch a bit of that American homesickness by bringing to the fore a little bit of the black man prejudice. They want to take my life. My job in Vietnam was to walk point element for combat patrols with a scout dog in search of enemy ambushes and booby traps and tunnels. And when I came home, the first week I was home sitting in the kitchen talking to my mother, and I served 16 months in Vietnam. And I was sitting in the kitchen the first week back, and my mother is staring at me, and she points to my high school graduation picture, and she says, "That's the Lamont I want to see." And I said, and I didn't know the truth of these words until 30 years later, I said, "Oh, Mama, you'll never see him again. He died in Vietnam." I'm one of those veterans who live with post-traumatic stress disorder. Spider holes. Suddenly, I remember Viet Cong spider holes, those hiding places only large enough for one person to conceal themselves in ambush, singular sniper, invisible until the victim drops. No one explained how memories of terror can pop out of spider holes, claim victims, decades after the ink of peace treaties has faded. The one thing about soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, they're being debriefed. When we left Vietnam, no one told us what was waiting down the psychic road for us. We just were ambushed. Debriefing. When the men returned from patrol, they explained they had encountered no enemy movement, located no hidden caches. Their most significant find was a GI jungle boot with a boy's foot inside. Vietnam produced a lot of soldier poets, as did World War I, and as it seems Afghanistan and Iraq are doing as well. It's very important to write about what you went through, not only for those generations coming after you, but for your own sanity as well. And when I've published 3 collections of my experiences in Vietnam. The first was called Mad Minute, and when I look back at that book before I was diagnosed with PTSD, it was staring me right in the face in that first collection of my poetry. And it was actually my daughter, who's 3 years old, when she was 3 years old, who first diagnosed me, because one day she looked at me and said, "Daddy, you have a serious problem." But it would take me 10 years before I went to seek help. Vietnam poets and writers are the niggas of American literature, always bringing up forbidden topics, ideas, and images that make people weep or get angry. The cyberspace of Vietnam won't go away. The machine gun, the blown apart bodies of youth, truth, and beauty keep screaming, keep moaning, refusing to die. The blood refuses silence, wails like ambulances and fire engines en route to civilization's largest conflagration. O death, silence those bards. Let us go on with our lives, our mistakes, our mistakes. And who survived? I am a daddy who survived the train wreck of war, but I cannot erase the horror from the blackboard of my spirit. Forgive me, daughter, for making you a little soldier. And striking you with the tropic lightning of my hands and words. Finally, this is the last poem that, because when a soldier is diagnosed with PTSD, not only does that veteran suffer from that, but the spouse of that veteran is also traumatized. And the children of that veteran are also traumatized. So there is primary, secondary, and tertiary trauma. And just so you know the statistics of Vietnam, 3 million of us served, 58,175 names on the wall, 20,000 other veterans who were wounded in Vietnam, died in hospitals around the world, whose names are not on the wall, 100,000 of us in prison, 250,000 of us homeless, 700,000 of us suffering from PTSD. 150,000 of us have committed suicide. That's the legacy of Vietnam. And the last piece from this publication is the last stanza in this book, which I have a few back there, from Uncle South China Sea Blue Nightmare. In country, black men were a nation. Dap, slap, flippity flap, Johnny Walker red, Johnny Walker black, damn sure can't go home in no body sack. White man's war, white man's price. Run, brother, run, you're a child of the sun. Don't leave your bones behind. Bad enough to remember this place with its pumpkin-colored ghosts. Dap, slap, flippity flap, Johnny Walker red, Johnny Walker black. Frontline fever has thinned the ranks. Long been jail is another thanks. Black men are a nation under siege. If you live to fight another day, the white man will try to kill you in the US of A.